another minute.
Oh, or the applicant's remote.
Yes, he's going to be remote.
Oh, okay.
He's away also, and he said, "Oh, I can't attend." I said, "No, you can if you want to present your application."
It does. It does present opportunities. you
Yes.
know?
Some good,
Some good, not
So John, are you missing the appetizer or the entree?
some not so good.
Oh, could you unmute, John?
I convinced them to push the whole thing to 7:30 my time.
Oh,
8:30
God
your
bless.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Hopefully we may give you time enough to take a shower.
I appreciate that.
Good evening, everyone. This is the Zoning Board of Appeals for May 11th, 2022. We've got a short agenda tonight. It's just an application on of 187 Washington Avenue for a fence. And it's the proposal to install a golf net fence to protect the house from errant golf balls. And who will be heard on this application?
Is there a John Lau there? Yes, you could promote him to panelist. Thank you. Hi, Ms. Lau.
It's Lai, and my name
Hi,
is Tara.
I'm sorry.
I'm John's wife.
Okay,
And my husband is just using the facilities. He'll be right back.
Okay. But while we have a minute, we're short-staffed tonight. We need to have 3 people here to vote. We've got two here at Village Hall, and we've got John Moss, who is joining us remotely. And so we just have the 3 of us, and that I don't think that's an issue, but the 2 of us here, Mr. Capasso and I, are both members of Ardsley Country Club. So in a sense, we are your next door neighbors. Now, I think that, and so we would, if you would like us to, we will gladly recuse ourselves. If we did that, we'd hold this over until the next meeting, which would be in July. I don't think we feel like we're conflicted in any way, but this is not a call for us to make. It's more one for you guys to make. You know.
So 2 of the 3 people who are there this evening are members of Ardsley Country Club, so they are able to recuse themselves if we prefer that they do so, if we think that there's a conflict of interest.
You know, and
If they
we're
do
not
that, then
we're
we
not
have
saying
to-
that there's a conflict. We don't believe we have a conflict, but that's it. That's a decision that you folks have to make.
But if they recuse themselves, there's not enough members present this evening to have the discussion.
Okay. Well, I mean, why don't we just go ahead with the discussion?
Okay.
Yeah, I think that
Yeah.
makes sense. So why don't really for the this is a simple application, but for the benefit of the public, why don't you describe what you're doing?
Okay, sure. My name's John Lai. Nice to meet you, everybody. This is my wife, Tara. We've been Dobbs Ferry residents since 2013. We bought this house at 189 Washington a little over a year and a half ago. At the time that we were looking at the property, we were kind of actually advised that it may be worthwhile to consider, the possibility that it would get hit by errant golf balls from the Ardsley Country Club. The third tee sort of faces directly at the house. The hole does a dog leg left, and it's sort of right at the bend is where the I think sort of if I had to guess what happened when the house was built in 1988, the golf clubs were not with the technology that they have now, and so it's about 220 yards from I think it's the blue tees to our house. And back then, I don't think people hit it that far, or maybe some people did. But now with the new driver technology, the golf balls are going further and further, and so the house gets hit with a fair amount of frequency. So before we purchased the house, we actually did a fair amount of research. We consulted with a couple of different net contractors. We actually reached out to Ardsley Country Club, to Ben, who is I think one of the directors there, or a director, and corresponded a little bit with the board about the possibility of us building a net to sort of protect the house and the property, and also, but most importantly, our family members from being hit with an errant golf ball. What the contractors that we did spoke with recommended was, somewhere in the vicinity of a 25 to 30 foot net that would sort of line the south side of the property. The design that we included there, it doesn't go all the way across the property line, because really the major source of the errant golf balls is from the tee. The second shot, when people take a second shot, it's usually more towards the fairway, and it doesn't really, if it's errant, it's not going to come towards our property. After having lived here for a year, the house does get hit fairly frequently. I'd say a couple times per week. We have had a couple of cases where it bounced off, hit my son once, my middle son. We've got 3 kids. The kids like to play in the driveway area quite a bit, and sometimes they do bounce into that driveway. So my son has been hit once, but it was sort of off the house, and then it ended up being not that bad a hit. And then one time, a golf ball did sort of ricochet off the house and then damage our windshield on our car. So I think the rationale for the net is pretty strong. We believe that the design is good. The contractor that we've chosen is somebody who's worked in the area before.
I believe he's actually put up a net at Ardsley Country Club as well.
Yeah, I was unable to confirm that with ACC, but he said he had worked on ACC before. But he's definitely worked out in Pelham. Actually, the picture of the net that we provided was one that he did out in Pelham. There'll be wood poles, a nylon net. Actually, if you look at the property, the south side is lined with arborvitae bushes that are already about 12 to 15 feet tall. So those already provide some protection there. So our intention is actually to build a net above the top of that. And then in addition, there are some trees that are on the golf course that Ardsley Country Club has planted. When those are in full bloom, they're somewhat protective. I think they're younger trees. When they get much older, I think they're going to be much more protective. Right now, they're a little bit small. I think with all those things combined, we would feel pretty satisfied with the protection if we could have the net.
Okay. Do you think having the net, 10 feet off the ground is really sufficient?
So that design was so that we could keep the arborvitae. The other possibility is that we would remove all the arborvitae and have the net go directly to the ground. What we've actually done, sort of in the meantime, is we've purchased. You can buy these sort of these retractable nets that people used to actually drive their golf clubs or their golf balls into when they're practicing. And those go up 12 feet. So if we're finding that the bush is not sufficient to stop a golf ball, we can, we actually have those already up on the property to protect one part of it. So we could always do that. But the net contractor, John, he indicated that if we decide at a later point we want to fill in the bottom, he said that wouldn't be a problem once it's all built.
Okay, yeah, because I think our thought would be to approve netting the entire 30 feet so that you do have that option, if you find that the
okay. Yeah.
arborvitae aren't working.
And I would really appreciate that, actually, because I think,
I know from experience that balls do go through those bushes.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure. We get a lot of friendly neighbors coming to look for their golf balls. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and actually, our arborist recommended, because it's actually those arborvitae, some of them were a little bit unhealthy. So he actually recommended when we replaced them with something called a green giant, which is actually has a much thicker base. So I think it's going to be that if we start to do that, that'll be much more effective at blocking the, providing brush to block the balls there.
John, do you have any questions, or is there anyone from the greater community that has some questions?
I have no questions. It all looks pretty straightforward in the documentation, so thank you.
That's great. Thank you.
Okay,
Motion to close the hearing?
second, all in favor? You want a motion or?
Sure. Motion to approve as requested with the amendment that we provide permission to put the net for the lower 10 feet as well.
I second. All in favor? Okay, good luck to you.
Oh, wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. And thank you for the efficiency as
Well,
well.
this is really a matter of safety on both sides, and it's an easy decision. Valerie,
Yeah,
could I ask you?
The joke is that our kids play hockey, so it also protects the country club members from hockey pucks.
The bottom 10 will really help.
I neglected to say that part.
A lot of
but
ours
you did
have
shoot
thicker
good
heads,
people
it's. Valerie, could I ask you to prepare a formal resolution of the hearings tonight for us?
That's correct. Yes, I will.
Thank you very much. Okay,
Thank you. Have a great
Well,
night.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great night.
thanks. Good night.
Bye.
Take care, everybody.
Take it easy.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot.
Valerie.
I never remember to do that.
But hit him at the net?
No.
Make sure you don't want to hit the house on one day.
Yeah.
Playing,